So the movement that we call Art Nouveau in Paris or arts and crafts in London or Modernista in Spain, we call Jugendstil when it happens in Austria. And they have one of the most robust examples of this type of design and architecture. So I'm showing you here a kind of parallel to the metro station that you saw in Paris. This is Otto Wagner, who designed the Karlsplatz streetcar station in 1899. And as you can see, it's very ornate, very decorative, lots of use of flower patterning and curving lines, which is very similar to what you saw with Art Nouveau in Paris. Now, there's also an important group of artists working in Vienna who are called the Vienna Secession. There are actually 18 of them who came together to depart from the traditional exhibition space. So kind of similar to what happened in Paris when the Impressionists wanted to leave the Royal Academy. This group of artists reject the Viennese Academy or the Austrian Academy's artistic dictates, and they begin to create work independently. Gustav Klimt, for example, who I'll introduce you to in just a moment, is an artist who is going to even renounce government support for the arts. And what's remarkable is that this group of artists, the Vienna Secession painters, had such success. Their work was so popular that after just 2 major exhibitions, they had enough money to design this building that you see here, which is called the Secession Building, appropriately. It included a really flexible space on the interior. It has movable walls and a skylight, which was a very modern concept. And as I said, they entirely paid for it themselves. They also had a rotation of about 4 to 5 exhibitions every year that functioned or centered on these different themes. The building has this motto here on the front that says, "To every age its art, and to every art its freedom." Now, in 1902, they decided that they would have an exhibition that's centered on Beethoven. And so one of the artists, Max Klinger, created this monument to Beethoven, which makes him look kind of like a Greek figure and very powerful. But Gustav Klimt also created a large piece for this exhibition, which is called the Beethoven frieze. And a frieze is basically an upper, a mural that wraps around the upper part of a wall. So this entire thing from the left to the center to the right is the actual Beethoven frieze. And it is a kind of celebration of a piece of music that I'll play for you in a moment, but you probably know. It's Beethoven's Ninth, also known as the Ode to Joy. And he creates a kind of visual illustration or manifestation of that piece of music. And at this opening, they actually had a conductor, Gustav Mahler, conducting Beethoven's Ninth. So imagine that you're in this room and you're hearing this piece performed by a live orchestra, and you're looking at this story that Gustav Klimt has created. So if we start here on this left-hand wall, you see these nude figures who are bowing before this knight in shining armor who literally shimmers from the gold leaf that he is painted with. And so this is sort of mankind or humanity looking for guidance, looking for some sort of salvation. But as you can tell, what's going to happen, what they'll be led into is this very dark and formidable scene of treachery and challenges and darkness and beasts. And then they'll come out of that dark, heavy central panel, and you see again that lightness, these figures that float along the top. There's a woman who's playing a harp, which is very similar to images that we see on Greek vases. And finally, it comes to the conclusion of what looks like a chorus of singers and a couple embracing. Now, if I play a little bit of that piece of music for you, I think you'll recognize it. It's probably a piece of music that you recognize. It's often played in the classical music world, and it starts off very softly, and then it has these really robust pieces, which are like this horrifying part, and then it ends on this choral piece. So if I move ahead, let's see, I think around here. Oops, I went too far. This piece is really the story of life. The composition musically goes through kind of the beginning as though it's birth, a beginning, the tumultuous aspects and challenges that we encounter along our journey. And ultimately, as Klimt portrays it, it's music, it's the arts that provide a kind of salvation, which take us to this beautiful moment, which is like, as it says in one of the lyrics of the piece, it's like a kiss to the whole world. And we see this couple embracing, and they are surrounded by this kind of golden cocoon. And it is this moment of pure bliss and kind of true happiness. It, of course, is also the inspiration for a work you may recognize, which is called The Kiss, which was done several years later, 1907, 1908. So I think one thing to keep in mind about this work is that this is a great example of what we call a Gesamtkunstwerk, meaning it employs all of the arts, architecture, painting, sculpture, music, all of it kind of come together in this space. And like so many of those movements, arts and crafts as well as Art Nouveau, you can really see this desire to integrate the arts.